What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Q4 expectations. I want to go over what Wall Street's really going to be seeing as a positive versus a negative. So I want to go over all the things that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So for this video, I'm primarily going to be talking about Rivian as well as Lucid. But Tesla as well will be putting out their numbers, and that's going to be always a big market mover. Behind me, I do have Rivian's chart overlaid with Lucid and Tesla. So with 2025 now concluding, this is pretty much how the stock did, each stock. So Tesla, Lucid, and Rivian. This is a little bit better of a viewpoint right here. So Lucid did go down a crazy 65% in 2025. Rivian went up 48.2%. Tesla 11.36, and then just as a benchmark, you have the S&P went up 16.39. So all in all, I think the next couple of trading days are going to be huge for the EV sector because most of them are going to be putting out their Q4 numbers. So when it comes to Rivian, I'm going to start off with them. Like I said, for this video, I'm going to be primarily just sticking to Rivian and Lucid. Historically, in 2025, Rivian put out their Q4 numbers January the 3rd. That was a Friday, so it is fair to assume they could be potentially putting it out tomorrow, January the 2nd. And so some expectations, last earnings, they did guide between 41.5 and 43.5. Of course, they kind of lowered it from their initial estimate, which wasn't all that great, but they're currently sitting at 32.5, pretty much a little bit over that. So on a side note, this is actual deliveries, and this is where I think some people always get confused comparing Rivian and Lucid's numbers, for instance, because Lucid goes based on production, Rivian goes based on delivery. In my opinion, I would much rather see delivery numbers rather than production, because production can be skewed. You can just pump out tons of vehicles, but delivery is what really matters. Delivery is what kind of signals overall demand. So ultimately, when it comes down to both Rivian and Lucid, when they put out their Q4 numbers, that's just tip of the iceberg, whether they beat or miss. In my opinion, I do feel like they will be missing on these numbers, fall short, probably around that 40,000. That's where I feel that they will kind of land, and the market regrettably will punish Rivian. Especially Rivian had a pretty nice run recently, so I think it might knock it down a little bit, but still, them actually just hitting their marks right here for 2025 is, like I said, just the tip of the iceberg. What they give for guidance for 2026, that's also going to be a very big deal for EVs, Rivian, Lucid, and everyone and their dog. So in general, this is where they're sitting at. So 32.5 so far for the first 3 quarters. So like I said, I personally do feel that they will land roughly around that 40, just falling a little bit short, and most likely the market's going to hit them a little bit hard. Even generally, if they come in line with this right here, the market still could potentially punish them, only because they might not just be satisfied with all of that. Overall, Rivian's been putting out some pretty impressive updates though lately, so I feel like when it comes down to their actual Q4 earnings call, it won't really take much to kind of intrigue the broader market. So this honestly is a pretty good thing for Rivian. Even if they do miss on their Q5 numbers, the market's very forward looking with Rivian because it's proven itself that it's building a good foundation and a base, meaning from now up until 2030, they should in theory have some pretty good growth. So very much justifying of this 48.2% in 2025, and most likely 2026 will be even better, in my opinion. So let me know your general thoughts on that. When it comes down to Lucid, historically, they did submit it on January the 6th. So that was a following Monday. So I do believe that Lucid will kind of stick within that range unless they are optimistic. Because one thing I've noticed about Lucid, when they think that they actually have positive news, they actually like to put it out early. So potentially Lucid, if they did hit their numbers, they could be putting it out as well as early as January the 2nd. But more likely it's going to be the following week. So when it comes down to Lucid's kind of expectations, they did reiterate 18,000. So originally it was 20, they lowered it down to 18 to 20, and then their last earnings, their Q3 numbers, they did guide for the low end of 18. Of course, Mark, their CEO, did signal that they can produce 1,000 vehicles a week now. So logically, there should be absolutely no reason that they can't hit their numbers. This, on a side note, is their last one, and so ultimately, like I already signaled in this video, they go based on production, which kind of is very misleading because technically Lucid could easily just pump out tons of vehicles and not really fulfill the delivery side of that. And that's one thing as well. Every Q4 Lucid's been able to do, they somehow are able to muster up the strength and just ramp up and get pump out tons of vehicles, but their deliveries lag, and then the market sees that as a red flag, saying that there isn't sufficient amount of demand to meet production. And logically, it kind of does make sense, but this is where hopefully going forward, at least logically, Lucid might change their mentality and have it go based on actual deliveries, not just set very high production targets. But nonetheless, for Q1 to 3, they are sitting at 8,000. So they do have to do pretty much 10,000 or just less than that in Q4. I personally was, from the get-go, I don't think that they will hit those marks, but based on Mark's recent comments, the CEO, if for whatever reason they don't hit the numbers, as what I signaled I don't think they will, then Lucid stock price is going to get hit even more than what it has, which again, down 65% so far, right? I guess in 2025. So yeah, like you can't have a CEO saying, yeah, we're doing 1,000 vehicles a week, and then logically you miss on that. So I think in general, Lucid's big thing is going to be the numbers that they put out for 2026. What targets are they going to set high expectations like 40,000, or are they going to be lowering it? That, like I said, is kind of the tip of the iceberg scenario that will most likely affect both Rivian and Lucid. But these are some of the numbers that we could be kind of expecting. So if we do actually hit the marks for Lucid, I could easily see it going up about 5 to 10% in that day, at the very bare minimum. If they miss, then anticipate probably a 2 or 3, 4% red day. Nothing crazy or significant. But again, these are what Lucid and Rivian are sitting at right now, and everything else that you need to know. Hopefully everyone had an amazing New Year's. Do you think that Rivian hit their numbers? Do you think Lucid hit their numbers? And what do you think for expectations for 2026? Do you think Rivian's going to continue their kick-ass momentum, or are they going to fall short? Because Rivian's done that in the past, of course. I think more in 2023, but do you think they're going to continue the demand? And in Lucid's case, do you think 2026 is going to be their turnaround year, or are they going to flop? So, like I said, everyone have an amazing day. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades, worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.